All right, troops.
Hello and welcome to That Mental Ginger Show with your host Andrew Durning, aka the Mental Ginger. My faithful followers, we've had the Sheamus, we've had Emma, we've had Wanda, we've had Mark and Kirsty. But I was always a bit scared to ask the big fish to come to the table, the great white shark, if you will. But finally, I had the confidence. We've now reeled in the great white shark, the legend that is Al Atkinson. Al, thank you so much for coming on, my friend. It's a pleasure and a privilege to have you here.
Like the great white shark. Now there's a good. That's different.
Yeah, well, it's not meant to be like an insult to your hair color or whatever. Like, believe me, I'm ginger. We don't have that luxury of being able to select anybody. So,
I've been called a lot of things, but never a great white shark.
Well,
Thank you.
Well, a great white shark is a very high compliment. Well, it's just,
Yeah,
it's like,
I think it's a good one.
yeah.
Thank you.
So what I like to do, Al, is I like to get the guest to tell my audience their origin story. Because if there's one thing we all have in common, it's that we have an origins.
We do have a history.
And as they say over in Celtic, if you know your history. That's just to annoy any Rangers fans that are listening.
Well, we'll make it very quickly.
Yeah,
it goes back a long ways.
Okay. No, don't worry. That means we have to get you for a sequel. You know, if we don't fill it all in. There we go.
Well, there you go. Sound like Wanda, huh?
Yeah. Oh, don't worry. Lots of guests are actually wanting to come back, so it makes me think it's either something wrong with them or I'm doing that bad.
No, you're not. You're doing well. Actually, I've listened to a couple of them, watched them. Yes.
Oh, thank you very much. I really appreciate it.
I graduated from high school in 1960 in Nova Scotia, Canada.
Canada. Well,
Canada.
I want to get. That's where I want to retire. Is Canada.
That's what I heard. I heard that rumor somewhere.
Yes, yeah, the rumors flying around. I'm basically plugging myself to anybody to go get me to Canada. I've got family in Canada as well, and they're over in the Toronto way, like Ontario and Toronto.
Maybe one that can get you a job.
I'm trying. Believe me, I'm trying.
So from the high school, I went directly into the Canadian Air Force.
Wow. So
were
you a pilot?
I was a pilot in the Canadian Air Force. Yes.
Wow, that's absolutely amazing.
Yeah. And going to Dalhousie University at the same time. So after a couple of years, I decided I'd rather fly than I would learn.
Oh man, it's like Canadian Top Gun. This is going to be great.
Well, the only good thing about all that was I got the history of being the highest ranking score in a flight test ever in Moose Jaw, Saskatchewan.
Wow.
So I think it was because I blacked my instructor out during a loop.
So what did the flight test involve? Was it on like a kind of like a simulator kind of style, or was it just like were you in the air?
We started out on Chipmunks because there's a small one engine aircraft. Wow. And then we went that to the Harvard, which is a bigger and single engine but much more powerful. And then we went to T-33 jets.
Wow, that's absolutely incredible.
And in the jets, we practiced like you would in war, shooting at targets with our jets.
Well, I know this won't be the way it's happening. Back in my crazy brain, I'm just picturing like somebody like in the air with a board, just going, "Please don't hit me, please don't hit me."
No, not quite that way.
As they're falling like 20,000 feet. That could be a potential comedy sketch, though, right there.
That might work. That might work.
But
talk about comedy. We happen to have people from Denmark and those countries. They came over to train with us.
Wow.
They were our comedy teams.
Yeah.
We had pictures up on the board how to do a short field landing, and here's the guy sitting on the top of his plane with his nose into the ground. That was a short field landing.
Brilliant. So So you had like lots of other people from other countries coming to the Canadian Air Force.
Well, they came. We did we trained them. Yes, our officers trained send them back to their group. Anyway, just like the U.S. does with some of the people that. Yeah, never mind their story. That's a different story.
Yeah, we want to hear Canadians. They're a better story.
Yeah, they're the better story. Well, it was all pretty funny and fun.
Yeah, it's not offensive to my American friends, obviously, but I have family in Canada, so it's always going to have that place right there.
Yeah, there you go. So after that, after getting there, I decided to quit the Air Force because I wanted to become an airline pilot. Wow. But I made the mistake to find out that my logbook was not released to me, so I couldn't get a job.
Wow.
So I ended up going into the business world.
Yeah.
I worked for finance companies, banks, trust companies. End up being district manager for a trust company.
Wow.
This takes the years. It's going. At
Yeah.
one point, I was manager in Ottawa, which is the capital of Canada.
Yeah.
45 branches of a finance company. I was the
Wow.
training manager.
Yeah.
So I've been in business all my life, basically. I'm banks. And the last job I had was I got the trust company closed down, so I had to find another job. I ended up as a salesman for a computer company.
Mm.
That only lasted 6 months. I became the vice president
Wow.
of the company.
That's not just rising through the ranks. That's not taking the as you would say the elevator straight to the top.
Straight to the top.
Yeah.
Straight to the top.
Well
And
done.
6 months after that, I owned 25% of the company.
Wow.
And
How did you manage to
then,
work that? Was it through like shares and all that kind of stuff? And,
yes, yeah, yeah.
wow.
And 6 months later, we sold out and I retired.
Oh, I can just that is so brilliant. You're like you start, you rise up, you get the money, you get to. As they say.
We're gone.
That's
We're gone.
that's absolutely brilliant. That's good. Well, I currently work for like a bank, which I can't say which one, but I'm so tempted to try and find that system and just be like, okay, bye.
Yeah. Well, I worked for the Bank of Nova Scotia at one time as well, which is a bank. I was a loan officer. But anyway, after that, when I retired, I was actually became a consultant on my own, and I went to where was it? A city in Kansas City, in Kansas.
Yeah.
Worked there for a Baptist minister, and what I did was basically set up his church so he could talk to people in old people's homes by
Yeah.
video, like we're doing now in Zoom.
All right.
But this was 30 years ago, and I set the
Oh.
system up to work.
But in fairness, that was you. You were thinking ahead of your time, right there.
But it wasn't Zoom. We actually just used video, particularly off the camera.
Yeah. Oh, the really big, like handy cam kind of ones that would kill your shoulder in 6 minutes, kind of thing.
Well, they set up on a tripod.
Oh, good.
Exactly where
Good.
at the minister. He would talk to them.
That's where the
you know.
Canadians think smarter than we do. We'd end up carrying it.
No, we don't carry it. Too heavy. So then, just after, I'm making this very short actually. About 19 years ago, I decided I'm traveling back and forth from Nova Scotia to Ontario, Canada, which is a full day's drive. But
Yeah.
so I start stopping in the U.S. I met a girl on the internet. I used to stop at her place. I'm halfway through to my son's place. 3 years after stopping there on a regular basis, we got married.
Nice.
So we've been married now 19 years. Well, it'll be 20 years in July.
Oh, that's brilliant. Congratulations.
Yeah. So anyway, and now I'm retired. I became an American citizen 19 years ago, so I hold dual citizenship, both Canadian and American.
Oh, you get the best of both worlds right there.
Yeah, because the Canadian government decided that they weren't going to stop it anymore. Before, you could only have one or the other. We weren't allowed both. But now we're allowed both.
Yeah.
So and now I lived in Maine for 17 years. I've been here for 4.
Wow.
In Florida.
Brilliant.
So that's the story.
Wow.
Of course, 10 years ago, Sheamus and I got together and we
Yeah.
started the videos and all that stuff. So, yeah.
Yeah. So we'll dive into the Sheamus. That sounds wrong, but I'll rephrase that. But how did you get in contact with Sheamus? Like, how did that come about? That process?
You know something? I really don't know. I think it's because I was promoting kids in their music.
Yeah.
And we had talked about somehow he had a programmer, was doing a program, and he didn't like doing that. Didn't want to do programming.
Mm-hmm.
He said, "Would you do a rock show for me?" I said, "Yeah, I can do that for you."
Mm.
But we had started out at first with just doing a 2-hour show.
Yeah.
We ended up doing 4 shows 4 shows every month, every week,
Yeah.
and with rock show, Romania, American, and rock country.
Wow. That's brilliant.
And we're still doing that, but now we're doing 2 shows every other month.
Yeah. That's good. So what drew you specifically to like the kind of what the younger up and come because they're younger talents rather than like just trying to go for the unsigned route? What? Just
Well, to start with, in my opinion, it's the younger group that need the help and support.
Mm.
And I end up starting out really, Romania was my biggest area.
Mm-hmm.
And I started with a girl there that I've been asked to help somebody.
Yeah.
Now, the reason why that happened, and why I'm in the music business, it had nothing to do with my past. It's
Yeah.
because my best friend, who is an owner of a taxi business in Halifax,
Mm-hmm.
his daughter was a singer.
Yeah.
And I used to go to her shows, and I would help her pick the music. I'd help her start her show. But she was one of the best singers ever. And she was
Yeah.
signed very shortly after by a company out of New Brunswick.
Wow.
10 years later, she'd never even been put into a show anywhere, and she had to quit. And I
Wow.
really felt bad about that. And I'm saying, that's not going to happen to any other kid as far as I'm concerned. I'm
Yeah.
going to go in this business, and I'm going to make sure they are protected. They don't get signed by sharks.
No, definitely. Like a lot of people do what they just think that, oh, what we'll go after the ones that are like, a bit older because they'll have a bit more experience and they'll understand the system. But it's the same deal with like if you don't get someone doing a work experience program when they're like 15, 16, how are they going to have that knowledge of what's coming ahead?
Yeah.
But, I mean, because when I was younger, I really wanted to do like acting, and my parents tried to push me to do singing, but they didn't have a clue how to do that for me, and I didn't have a clue. So
No,
so
it
I
takes training. It
yeah.
takes training. Yeah.
So what type of like mentoring and coaching strategies do you use? I meant to ask this to Sheamus as well, but we can make it a double whammy.
Well, as you probably would notice, I do most of my promotion on Facebook.
Yeah, I've seen like you do like a lot of good like promotions. Like, I like the cover arts and stuff. Do you do them yourself?
Yes. Oh, yes.
Oh, nice. Well,
I'm,
really,
I'm still learning too.
and fair.
You're always learning.
You always find something like a new trick or a new piece of software. Like, I'm finding that with this with the podcast as well. I look back at the first ones and I'm like, did I even know how to use logo print back then? But
That's right.
back then is like 3 months ago,
Right. I let Sheamus do all the video stuff.
Yeah,
I did the promotion with artwork,
yeah.
basically.
I see a lot of, like the promotion stuff that you do, like, and it's really good. Like, and it's always like I say, it's always the talent that's up front and center, like, and they're getting all
Yeah.
the kind of right promotion that they deserve. So when it came for setting up like the Zoom gigs, I've talked about them. Like, obviously, I've spoken about them with Emma, I've spoken about them with Sheamus, like, and obviously been to quite a few of them myself, and I really love them, and I love seeing like the younger talent like gaining confidence through doing that. So
Yeah.
what gave you the specific idea for it? Did it maybe link back to the stuff you were trying to do 30 years ago?
Well, it went back to that girl that didn't make it.
Hmm.
Okay. And I just wanted to make sure that I could help because I was retired. I had nothing else to do.
Yeah. Hmm.
But no, I'm actually sitting in my room here at 5 o'clock in the morning usually, and I'm here till 10 o'clock at night
Wow.
doing promotion, and talking to the people. Obviously,
Yeah.
I always make. I've been to Romania 4 times,
Yeah.
and it's not a cheap trip, but
No.
I go to Romania to talk to the parents so they know who they're dealing with and that they can trust.
Hmm.
Turns out that I've become an uncle or a grandpa or a godfather to a lot of these girls over there because you got to remember that Romania is only like 30 years out of the Soviet Union.
Yeah.
Okay? So the lifestyle is completely different than say yours or mine.
Yeah. So what is it
A
like
lot of the
over
kids
in
don't.
Romania? Because I've never had the pleasure or the privilege to go myself, mainly because I don't have any money.
Well, it's not from here. It's not that expensive even. But no, I find that, for example, most of their grandparents have not survived because they couldn't survive the starvation, the hard work from the previous time. So most of these kids don't have grandparents,
Yeah.
or a lot of them don't anyway.
Hmm.
So it seems that because I was older, they could look up to me, and I've got in Romania I think 3 granddaughters. Yes, that adopted me.
Wow.
So
Yeah. I can just picture it like when you arrive in the plane, it's like Al Corleone, everybody coming out and just like kissing the hand and like you go
well, actually,
like,
not no.
like
But one of
someday
the
you will
girls.
come to me for a favor.
Yeah, no. One of the girls, actually, Georgetta Constantine, who's now a school teacher.
Wow, that's brilliant.
She was actually my artist of the year back in 2017, I think it was, and she's a country singer.
Brilliant. Have you got any other success stories that you can
Yeah.
enlighten us with, like other
Well, at the end of it
exclusives?
all, at the end, well, a lot of the girls like Ashley Marina was on America's Got Talent, was in the
Mhm.
finals.
Wow.
Courtney Hardman from the UK was in American Got Talent, was in the
Yeah.
finals.
I've seen that one. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, Courtney.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I know of her. I've never had the privilege to like speak to her or Get,
Right in the local area I live
get,
here, I got 3 people here who are on uh,
mm.
the girl one, American Idol.
Ah, right, yeah, yeah.
Yeah. And they live here, but they all were in the finals,
Oh,
and
brilliant.
they came and done shows with me. So
Yeah,
our clubhouse here, and I've been on the board of directors here, and that's actually it was the president as well
yeah,
of 715 homes here in this art subdivision. It's a
yeah.
gated community. In other words, you have to get signed through or allowed in to the gate to get in here.
Hmm.
But I have a clubhouse that holds 250 people, and I
Wow,
put on a few shows there.
that's brilliant.
Now,
That's a,
the kids make some money, charge
yeah,
$10 for a ticket, and they
yeah.
get their share.
That's
But
great.
I never get any of the money. The money all goes to the kids.
Yeah. What about like how did that with COVID and that? How did it affect doing those type of shows? Like because they sound like brilliant shows, like and obviously for great causes to help the young artists. But like how did that? How did COVID affect that?
Well, it didn't affect them as much as at least they got more experience in live shows as well as being in the radio. Because
Yeah.
the radio show can reach, I don't know, 200,000 people, whatever,
Yeah.
but they don't see them, you know. But
Mm.
here, the people actually saw them, and they got experience working to a crowd.
Wow.
Now, Juna and Joey, who's a brother and sister act, just
Hmm.
did a tour of the UK,
Wow.
and they went to my eight neighbors, and they've
That's,
been in Nashville most of the last 2 years.
yeah. That's quite ironic because like you're saying like oh somebody that's what been over in Nashville and come to the UK. What and the guest that I had on Alexia, what she's UK and she's going over to Nashville to record her country album.
Yeah.
So that's quite an interesting symmetry right there.
Well, I'm thinking that the reason they do that is one is to get known worldwide, to get more people to come here as well.
Hmm.
And here, because Nashville is the center of country music in the U.S. in the world, actually, because
Hmm.
it's huge.
Yeah,
Just like Los Angeles, for example, is the capital of movies.
yeah, yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
Well, and Nashville is like all about like their country singing. I've got a real soft spot for country music because it's so raw and it's really but the lyrics are always really emotional and they don't have a lot of overproduced what
Yeah,
well, it's not
that's
like
true.
you've got like five guitars and three drummers and all that kind of stuff. It's like usually acoustic drums, what maybe a bass, what and it's
Yeah,
just
maybe.
it just hits you right in the soul though, doesn't it? It really does.
Sitting behind me here is my laptop, and on that laptop, when I shut up in the morning, comes up Amazon Prime Radio.
Yeah, yeah.
Put on the earphones and I work. Until my wife gets up 2 hours later.
Wow. Well, she gets a lie
So
in.
that's
Impressed.
so and that's mostly Nashville. I'm listening more to country music, actually.
Yeah, that's brilliant. So who would you say was your favorite kind of country music artist?
Well, country pop I like.
Yeah.
In other words, like Taylor Swift, for example, who
Hmm.
writes all her own songs,
Yeah.
and she's on the borderline of country and pop.
Yeah.
But yeah, she's not the best singer in the world, but she's a great songwriter.
Mm.
We have
She's a really good actress as well. She's got a good stage presence about her.
oh, she has a good stage presence. We
Mm.
got a young girl that started out was 9 years old on mob radio. Her name is
Right.
Tegan Marie.
Oh yeah, I've heard it. Yeah.
Tegan Marie was the youngest signed in country music in the
Yeah.
last 25 years. She was signed at 13
Wow. That's
with,
amazing.
with Warner Music.
Yeah.
And she, because of the pandemic, we haven't seen much of her, but she's always on every show that we have, no matter what show it is. She's on my
Yeah.
show.
That's fantastic. What? So obviously I know about like how now we know kind of how you and Sheamus what kind of started collaborating. But when did Wanda come into the mix? What through Doc Entertainment?
About a year and a half ago, 2 years, maybe 2 years ago.
All right. Well, did you reach out to her? Did she inquire to you? Was it or a mutual kind of inquiry?
No, it was. I think we picked up on because she was promoting some kids in Canada, and
Yeah.
I had picked up on a couple of the kids up there,
Yeah.
and that set a relationship.
Mm.
She saw what we were doing, and she said, "Well, people think you help me make money. Give me more people to sign up."
Yeah. Oh, that's
So I
brilliant.
gave her probably 10 or 15 to sign up.
Mm-hmm. Oh, that's
So you may see
fantastic.
some of her promotions are the same as mine because it's the
Yeah.
same people.
Yeah. I do. What I do love about one is like just like how what the way she kind of started with her origins and where she's got to now. It is really kind of inspirational, but everybody's story is so unique and fascinating. I mean, looking at yours, you started out after you got out of high school, you were in the Canadian Air Force, and then you went into business and finance. I'm just picturing like the Owl of Wall Street right there. Just like an Al Atkinson Belfort just kicking about. And
But
then
it was Canada, so that's not Wall
yeah,
Street.
yeah. Well, look, Canadians' version of Wall Street. Essentially,
Toronto stock market, probably.
yeah, the stock market. The stock market. We'll go with that, because we've always got like the stock. We've got the stock exchange, the London Stock Exchange here. But then you went to like that, the finance world, rose through the ranks, got the money, off you go, and now you get to do essentially, which is a dream job, which is finding talent, helping nurturing them, helping them grow, and like promoting them. So
Yeah.
what would you say is the best part of that? Is it like the like kind of mentoring process for you, just seeing like their confidence grow and how their kind of persona
Their
comes?
success.
Yeah.
Seeing their success.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, Sheamus and I don't charge for anything we do.
Yeah.
Matter of fact, we probably spend more money than we should.
Yeah, because I remember like it was saying like, oh, well, you don't need to donate or whatever, and I thought, nah, well, I like what these guys are doing, and I like how they're doing it, so obviously I put some money towards the shows, as you and Seamus know.
But
But
part of my major part of my job is protecting these kids from undesirables.
no, definitely, because there's too many people out there where you're not sure
Yep.
what their intentions are, and you need. It's very rare, I think, like these days, to find someone who's actually got like just a genuine, straightforward kind of attitude of, look, we want to help you, and then once you're ready, on you go.
I manage 29 pages at this point,
Wow.
so I'm pretty busy in just the protection part as well.
Yeah, no,
And
definitely.
I have certain steps I do, and anybody who wants to be a member of that page,
Hmm.
I make sure they have to ask first before they get on or answer questions. Same
Yeah.
as groups.
Hmm.
If they don't answer the question, that's only step one, and then I got to find out all about them. And the best way to find out about what's going on with some of these people is to check their likes.
Hmm.
If you look at their likes and you see things that you don't want your kids to see,
Hmm.
they just don't get on the page.
Yeah. No, I get.
And there's many that are like that. Let me tell you.
Yeah. No, I agree with that, because I seen it was one of the groups that asked to come on, and it was what I accepted, and then I was about to go through the rules there, and it was actually that thing. I was like, there's things on my Facebook, nothing like really like dodgy or bad, but I wouldn't want my kids seeing it in there. Obviously,
Right.
I mean they're 3, but there's a lot you don't want them to see anyway. But I'm like, no, I wouldn't want that like kind of younger ones to hear like that. So I mean, you've heard from some like for example, some of my podcast interviews, I get a bit I get sweary, because when I get nervous, it's kind of like a tick. Well, I don't intend it to be, but it just comes out that way. And so when I was speaking to Emma, I was like really focusing, trying to stay as nice and polite and respectful as possible, because you're not only potentially interviewing them, you're also interviewing their parents, because they'll watch it and see what they think, and if they don't like it, obviously you're really done for. But thankfully, she was very happy to come on the show, and she was an absolute pleasure to have on. As I've said several times. So how did you come about getting Emma specifically just for the podcasting side of it and the hosting part? I mean, I can see the talent that she's got. But what was it you specifically saw in her that thought she could be a good host?
Well, I guess I've been promoting to Romania for a long time, and her parents knew who I was. And I started out by promoting Tiana,
Mm-hmm.
and I found out that Emma had written one of Tiana's earlier songs. I said, well, what is Emma doing?
Yeah.
Oh, not much.
Yeah.
So I started talking to her, encouraging her, telling she can do a lot more than what she's doing, and that she's very important. And it's just enough to stuff. She got more confidence in what she can do.
Mm-hmm.
And we found after the first start, she's a lot better than what we even thought.
Yeah. It's even just seeing how well she's done since even the first couple, and how well she's done even then, and she already had that skill and that talent about her. So it's really for
Is my picture flashing on you? Is my picture flashing?
It's all right. I've not got epilepsy. We're all good.
I don't know what's causing it.
It's okay. See, as long as the audio is still there, because we want everybody to hear you. If they don't see you, well, then they can go on Spotify. What?
Yeah,
But I'd obviously like to get more people into
because
the.
that's never happened to my camera before. I
Yeah.
don't know what's going on.
Oh, don't worry. See, when I got this new sound system, it took me 4 interviews before I realised I'd never had the mic turned on. Well, it's such a rookie mistake. I was so embarrassed. I was like, "Oh, I'm so sorry, guys," but they're like, "No, we had a brilliant time," and I'm like, but I want the best for my guests." So what is 2022 going to hold for you, Al? Obviously, I know you've got the Christmas concert coming up, and you've got the 10 years Mob Radio coming as
We
well.
already did that. We already did the concert.
Yeah.
10 years. But
Yep.
we have Tiana coming up on the 19th, which is also celebrating us as well.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then the next one, I think after that is LA from Philippines in
Mm-hmm.
January the 9th.
Yeah. Well, that's good.
Well, we're getting it all filled up pretty soon.
Yeah, it's surprisingly soon. In fairness, I mean, when this episode goes out, it'll be February time. Well, sorry for anybody for spoiling the illusion, but yeah. At this time, the holidays are coming, and I want to really spend time with my wife and kids. I think every ginger deserves a break.
Yeah.
So, what do you think is going to come? For the rest of 22? Just carry on doing the gigs and keep essentially.
But no, I think
keep on keeping on.
No, we're going to start doing some other things, interviews and that type of thing as well with
right.
the artists. Yeah.
Brilliant. Well, so will that be something that potentially you'll have Emma doing, or maybe getting another co-host?
Oh, no, Emma's going to be involved with them as well.
Oh, good,
and it's not just an interview, but we're going to play the videos, or if they want to sing, we'll let them sing. That type of thing.
That's great. Kind of like a live lounge kind of deal where they sing, have a wee bit of talk, and then a bit more singing.
Yep.
I always just loved them back in the 90s, like the unplugged sessions. They were really good.
Right.
Well, that sounds absolutely brilliant. And what was it? You've got nothing but success going anyway, Al. And it's a pleasure to watch the talents like on the Sunday nights. And right, so for anybody that's maybe not heard any of your stuff, first of all, what you doing? Go and hear it. And then second of all, sell, baby, sell. Tell my audience where we can find you and where they can go.
Well, I only have an account. Okay. Mm-hmm. I do have Instagram.
Yeah.
And I'm on TikTok, but I don't like TikTok.
I've not even considered TikTok. I'm like, that's.
I have YouTube. So I have all the social media things to go to. And they're all under my name. It's not like some special name. It's just Al Atkinson. That's where you find me.
There we go. Yeah. Find Al Atkinson on the socials, as they say.
You got it.
So we're starting to come up on time, and I'll round off by asking you the same question I ask all my guests.
Ask you a question.
Oh, don't worry, my question is due to come, but we get this last one for you.
Okay.
If you could give one piece of advice to anyone that's struggling with mental health issues at this point in time, what would that piece of advice be and why?
Well, you can't solve the problems on your own. So my advice would be make sure you talk to either a professional or a friend or both. And why? Because you can't do it on your own.
No, definitely.
Otherwise, you wouldn't be having the problem in the first place. But you could.
Yeah, I know there was always the long-standing joke of, if you can't tell your problems to your friends, tell the problems to your taxi driver.
Right, there you go.
Because
Uber driver.
Because the advantages were, one, it stops him telling you his problems, and two, it's amazing how much quicker you get to your destination.
Yeah, there you go. Right on.
Yep, it's always an interesting one. But now, that's really good advice, and again, the simplest explanation is the correct one. Just talk.
Just talk. Exactly.
Problem shared is a problem halved, as they say.
You got it.
So now we're going to come to the Air Force's favourite segment, Ask Andrew Anything. For my regular listeners, this is where, after me grilling my guests for approximately 28 minutes and 45 seconds, this is where we get to turn it around and the guest gets to ask me a question. It could go very well, it could go very badly, but that's all part of the fun. So, Al,
why are you doing this?
Very good question. Unfortunately, one I've been asked a couple of times, so I have a ready-made answer.
Tell it again.
Well, I've got a lot of experience with having my own mental health problems myself, and I'm always very open and honest about it and some of the hardships that I went through. And the worst one was when I got separated from my wife and my kids for 6 weeks. And because I was told I was a danger to them, because I was in such a bad headspace. I've been told I've been a danger to myself before, but when you're told that you're a danger to your family, that's
wake up call.
Yeah, that was me literally living in hell. Well, I was just sitting like, on my own. I couldn't go anywhere. I couldn't see anybody or do anything because I was considered a danger, and that was horrible. I remember just sitting in my room thinking that there was two kind of ways. Like, well, there was two paths. The short one was to just give up, like, just end it, and the long one was to fight. Well, and you do consider the short path because when you're in that headspace, you don't think you matter to anybody, and you think it's the most selfless act in the world, getting rid of yourself so you don't burden anybody anymore. Well, but then I thought of Kieran, I thought of Connor, I thought of my wife, Alison, and there's like, that's where I want to be. It's who I need to get back to. I want to be the best dad I can be. I want to be the best husband I can be. Well, I want to be the best version of myself that I can be. Well, so I chose the long road and I chose to fight. It was really tough. It was like between going from like National Health Service therapy to private therapy to doing lots of different techniques, having to take what pills and then take like, different pills and find different ways of coping. And even when I came back after the 6 weeks, it's like when you pass your driving test and then you start going on the road. You've got to relearn how to do everything again, relearning how to be the dad you want to be and what the husband you
Right.
want to be. And it's an experience that I wouldn't wish on anybody. And I remember I'd done a wee kind of mock pilot of the show during lockdown and things like that. And it was just really me ranting and maybe talking to a couple of people. So when I was focusing on recovery and getting better, I took time away. And then once I got to the stage where I thought I could do it again, I wanted to do something that made a difference. Because I'd just done the Flower of Scotland cover to raise money for mental health. Well, and I wanted to try and keep going along those lines. And I thought, well, I'm passionate about the arts. I know that. I'm good at that. Well, and it's where I've got my skill set. Well, and I want it, and I like helping people. I like helping promote unsigned artists and up and comers, and like giving them that platform to promote themselves and try and help them succeed. Well, and I also want to use it to raise awareness about mental health, like, especially in what the arts, because usually we're just kind of told. You always hear it all the time, like singers like killing themselves or comedians killing themselves
Yes.
because they're
Yeah.
so like they're laughing to hide the tears, like, and they don't get that help, and it's like
A lot
if
of they get involved in the drug, which makes a difference too.
yeah, definitely. And what they need those support mechanisms as much as anybody else does.
Yeah.
So I thought, well, combine the two, and see how it goes. And if I can make one person like take a wee half hour out of their day, maybe have a wee smile, have a wee chuckle at my general insanity, what and it just makes them feel a bit better for half an hour. If I can do that for one person, then I'll know that I've made a difference. And I'm loving it. I didn't think I would be as good as I am because people are actually telling me I'm good, where I'm like, I've got imposter syndrome. I don't think I'm actually that good. But people are saying, yeah, you're good. Well, you have to keep doing this. You're helping a lot of people. And the way the
Yeah.
channel's grown just in this short space of time has been unreal. I did not expect it. And the guys I'm working with, like in the studio as well, they love coming. Like they tell me it's the highlight of their month when we get to do like a wee block booking everybody to come out. We get to meet interesting people, and then I get to do the Zoom ones like when my wife and kids are in bed, so I get to actually talk to someone with the emotional intellect of more than a 3 year old, which is always beneficial
Cool.
for, and it's
Yeah.
beneficial for my mental health as well. I like talking to people, and I like trying to make a wee bit of a difference. And what I know, I keep saying chivalry's not dead; it's just in a coma.
Good.
What
Very true.
so I'm
Totally
just
true.
so I'm going to make sure that we can just wake up and just remember there still are some genuine gentlemen out there that want to just be good and help. And
Yes.
hopefully I'm doing that.
There's
And
a few of us around.
yeah, so hopefully I'm doing that, and hopefully I answered your question now.
You have. Thank you very much.
Yeah.
And
So
thank you for the interview.
you're very welcome, and I really appreciate you coming on. Well, see, it wasn't as bad as you thought it was it?
Well, it wasn't as bad as you thought it was.
Oh well, I always love all my interviews. I love all my guests. I always just try and make sure that they come out and go, yeah, it was all right actually.
So I wasn't intimidating at all, was I?
No, no, not at all. Well, it was more intimidating actually trying to get in contact. I had to use Wanda to go, yeah. Like, can you point me in the right direction and say I did a good interview? but but it's been an absolute pleasure having you on, Al, and
Thank you.
just finding out some of your backstory. Like, I've got a lot of respect for you, like serving like in the Air Force, and the way you kind of just built your life throughout, and I wish you nothing but
That's life.
yeah.
That's
That's what all the people say. Right behind April, shot down on me.
Yeah.
Big Frankie's fan. Big Frank Sinatra fan.
Thank you very much, Andrew. Appreciate it.
So until
Nice
next time,
talking to you.
yeah, it's been brilliant. I really appreciate it. So until next time, my faithful followers, I've been Andrew Durning. This has been the brilliant Al Atkinson. Check him out on his YouTube, like his Facebook, like his Insta. Maybe avoid TikTok if he's not on it, but we don't want TikTok. We don't like TikTok.
Nah.
So until next time, take care. Stay safe.
Again. Bye-bye.
Bye bye.
Bye.